Hey, welcome to my podcast. I'm Manina, and you are listening to an episode of Aspire Big, Inspire Bigger podcast. Welcome back to Aspire Big, Inspire Bigger podcast. Today I am joined by Kylie Russell, also known in the modeling world as Kye Alexis. Hey. Hey. She's a Chicago native and the CEO of Priceless Management. Welcome to my podcast, Kylie.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So I created Aspire Big, Inspire Bigger podcast to showcase a full spectrum of different lifestyles. So every guest's stories, their joys, their pains, their gifts, their talent, their mastery, and their, expertise. And my goal is to just tie in the importance of aspiring for just something bigger in order to inspire others. So today I just wanted to talk to you about the art of entrepreneurship and just let me know where entrepreneurship started for you.
Okay. Where did it start for me? So my mom was an entrepreneur. Growing up, she had an event planning business called Priceless Presentations, which my company is like the second generation to the Priceless. My maiden name is Price. I always saw her growing up, hustling as an entrepreneur, a Black woman entrepreneur at that. I would hear her phone calls. I would help her at her event. She always had me involved. I was like working for like 25 cents an hour, at like 7 years old, thinking like, yes, I can buy some candy,
Oh, yeah.
But in watching her, I started to, catch on. And I remember my first hustle. I was 11 years old, and I used to make like origamis and like fortune tellers and sell them for like 5 cents. And then I was like, oh, I can do business. So then when I was 13, I started buying bandanas from the beauty supply store and bedazzling them with rhinestones and selling. So that was like my next hustle. And then in high school, I was like the candy lady. I had everything in my locker: Capri Suns, candy, chips. Like everyone huddled around my locker, and I was sold out second period every day. It's just always been in me, that kind of hustler mentality. My mom calls me a Jamaican because I can wear so many different hats. And I have to do it all, what you need.
That's right.
So I just always, kind of had that hustle in me. And obviously after graduating college, I'm like, all right, I have to do something for real this time. So I kind of, had to explore. I knew I wanted to be a model. In that, I kind of realized the world of being a brand ambassador in between modeling jobs because, modeling jobs, they pay every like 90 days. But in between, you need a little something in between. So I was working at events because I knew the event space from my mom, and I was a promo model. And eventually just, meeting so many people and networking and always having in the back of my mind that I want my own business, like a legit one. I then ended up finding out that, okay, I have a lot of connections. I know this industry very well. I'm going to go ahead and create a business to hire promo models because I would always get asked for them. People would be like, hey, can you refer me to somebody? I'm like, yeah, of course. I know everybody. And then with that, I was like, I need to make a business out of this. And then Priceless Management was born.
That is awesome. You took what you have, you took your talent, you took your connections, and you just made something big out of it. It doesn't take a whole lot of money. It doesn't even take the most skill, but what you have is what you need to make your business.
Exactly. It started with maybe $500. I got my LLC, my bank account set up, got a website domain, and hit the ground running. Got some checks so I could write to people. Me and my husband were in the house. We were our own accounting department. We were the web developers. We were the agents. We were everything together. So we, could work it up to start hiring people. Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do in the beginning.
That's right. Do you do events, or you're basically like an agency?
In my promo modeling world, I ended up getting hired as a lead promo model, and then from there I was offered a job to be a manager for Douce Cognac and Bombay Sapphire. So with that, I got more introduced and more experience in the event world as far as being a manager. So with that, I was hiring the models. I was managing them. I was helping to produce the events with them on behalf of the brand. I always said that, I want a corporate job so I can get the experience. And that's exactly what I got out of that. I started doing that. I got a promotion to be a national event manager for Douce Cognac, doing events for Rock Nation, staffing for the Rock Nation brunch, and huge events. And I'm so happy that my models get to serve Beyonce and Jay-Z. Like, what? I wish I could be there. But but that, through that experience, I definitely learned and grew a lot more, and that in turn helped me with my own agency. So I don't want to say that with my agency we are event producers, but we do staff events and can do production assistance work. When you test the waters on things, you realize what you like and what you don't like. And I realized I don't love the event planning part, but I'm like finding sponsorships and things like that. That's not me. I like the actual management part. I like to be on the ground running things, making things happen. So, in my corporate world, I understood what I liked and didn't like and applied that to my business. I feel like that's the best way to do it.
That's the best way to do it. So you have the expertise. What are 2 to 3 tips you would give somebody who is in the same boat as you? They're just starting out and they really want to do this. And they have the $500, right? They're doing the LLC. They're ready. What are 2 to 3 tips that they need just on the inside? It's not even like a business savvy thing. It's like, what did you use from inside of you to fuel you?
One, I have to say, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you have to have self-motivation. You have to have it within you that I'm not stopping no matter what, because it's going to be a roller coaster of emotions, of ideas, of different things, people telling you things. You have to have it in you that I'm going to keep going no matter what, and I'm going to be a self-starter. I'm going to wake up in the morning and do this. No one is telling me, hey, Kylie, you got to get up. Remember, you have to do that? No. I'm telling myself that. Being a self-starter is something that I was always thankful that I had inside of me, but I also had to learn that too. Like, no one else is going to do it but you. So you have to have your own motivation. And 2, I would say, do your proper research, because some people just hit the ground running and don't know what they're up for, or don't know about their competition, or don't know that, there are resources to help them. So do as much research as you can before you tell somebody, yeah, this is my business. Like, no, make sure that you understand what your business is and look at everything around it. What does it mean to start a business? Who's doing this? I remember I wanted to have a mobile hair and like beauty salon, and I remember I did all this research and I was like, oh my God, there's this thing called Glam Squad. They do that already. I didn't continue with that idea, but I learned that there was somebody else doing that I could have also like mimicked, or made something better, or made better out of what Glam Squad was already doing. So it's important to just do your research. If you have an idea, don't just say this is it. Say, okay, take calculated steps towards your vision and your goals, and make sure that you're moving correctly. My dad always says it's okay to make mistakes, but it's not okay to make expensive mistakes. Don't waste your money. Don't waste your time on things that you just like said, I'm just going to do that. Make sure that you're, being smart about everything and moving how you should in order to reach the proper goal in enough time.
Right. And don't be afraid to ask for help too. That's another key thing. If you know that you did your research and you know that you're gonna push forward, don't be afraid to ask for help. There are people out there that for sure, especially if you're on your right path. The people. They've already been in place for you to help you, to connect you to other people. I did the same. That's how we got connected. And I am not an asker at all. Like literally, accounting people. We stay in accounting. We don't go to parties. We don't go to any, like with the modeling agency. We don't go to the parties. We don't do much of any of that. We go to work, go home. And that is probably more suited to our personalities than that we don't get invited or anything like that, So I'm not an asker. I'm not a big, buzzing bee around the offices or anything like that. But I just took it and said, this is something that I'm going to do no matter what, whether it fails, no matter, what. So I'm going to ask somebody, what should I do from here? Or do they have any input? Something, somebody who's trustworthy, ask for help.
Exactly. You never know what somebody might bring to the table, you know? There's been so much great advice that I've been given. I'm like, wow, thank you. Like, I never would have thought about this for myself. You know, we don't know everything, especially when we're first starting in something. You know, find those professionals in the industry. LinkedIn is also a good resource to say, hey, like, these people are in the industry. Let me send them a message. Maybe they can have some great advice. Ask for a mentor. That's always great. You know, I had one when I was working at Duce. She was amazing just to help navigate the industry, and so she could also see that, like, I'm really thirsty for this. I really want this to happen. When someone else sees that you want it so bad, they're more willing to want to help you because they want to see you succeed too. Or don't ever be afraid to ask for help or ask for a mentor or advice. You know, that's very important.
So if somebody is going to work into a corporate company, how do they ask for a mentor?
I would definitely say feel people out, see what type of vibes they're giving. I asked for a mentor because I could tell that, you know, the young lady that I asked, she was just very open and willing to help. And not that she was just saying, like, hey, Kylie, I'm going to help you with this. You could just kind of tell. And I'm a big energy person, too. I get vibes from people. And I was like, oh, no, she'd be the one that would actually help me if I asked. And she did. There's also a lot of resources online, too, for finding mentors in business. There's a lot of big people that are, like, huge executives that are lending their hand to be mentors. Like, Oprah is even a mentor for people, you know? Not that it's the easiest to get in touch. You know, it's always worth asking somebody, and they might refer you to somebody that can be a mentor, you know? It always starts by asking.
We're coming to the end of the podcast. We've done great so far, but I play this game at every podcast, and I just picked 3, like, introspective questions as best as we can answer them. It's called Our Moment. It's 3 of them. I'm going to shoot for the first one. What do you love about your hometown?
So I'm from Chicago, born and raised. I love summertime Chi. I know we have like 9 months of cold winter, but those 3 months in the summer, it just brings out a lot of good in people. We're barbecuing, we're celebrating, we're having festivals. My mom always produced this big festival called the African Festival of the Arts. So that was like our culture, like to, you know, go outside and hang out and barbecue and just enjoy the weather. We're really thankful for those 3 months. So we really make sure we enjoy it. Just, I don't know, the city comes alive in the summertime. And I just love it so much. The taste of Chicago. Navy Pier, going on boats, going to the beach. We have beaches in Chicago, yes. Oh. But it's a beautiful, beautiful city, and you know, I'm kind of sad. We usually go every year, but I'm kind of sad I can't go now. But it's really amazing. I miss my people so much from Chicago in the summertime, especially.
Well, I'm from Harlem, born and raised.
Okay.
So I love that Harlem was built on Black excellence. And I can say that though different cultures are moving in, is still the basis of it is still Black excellence. No matter what it went through, 90s, I was here. It was bad. It still is, and it was always about Black excellence. So that's what I love about Harlem. And we're stylish, and we're cool, you know? We just cool. Yes. I hear that about Chicago too.
Oh, we're definitely cool. You know what though, and to piggyback off of that, the neighborhood that I grew up in is called Bronzeville, and it was the only neighborhood that Black people could live in when they migrated from the south to the north. And it's so historic, and I literally live on the block where you'll see like historic like landmarks of where like very infamous people grew up. And I literally live on the same street as these people, and it was they called it, you know, another type of Harlem Renaissance because they had like the Billie Holiday and you know, the beautiful like singers and the actors, and it was definitely a vibe back then, you could tell. But I just love the history that Chicago brings out, and to be able to actually be born and raised in that same very area where all this Black excellence, you know, came out. So I feel you on that with the Harlem, the Black excellence, because a lot of that came out of Bronzeville too.
That is so cool. Yeah, Harlem, everybody's grandma's from down south. You know? Yeah. Had to come into, yeah. All right, the second question.
Okay.
Where and when do you get your best ideas?
Honestly, I'm one of those type of people that likes to bounce ideas off of other people. So it's really with my friends and in particular my friends that have the same kind of like hustle and motivation as me. I just love when I can just sit and we can just have some wine and just talk about what we're aspiring to do and where we're trying to go in business, and oh, you should do that. Like I'm always one that's like, oh my God, girl, but you should do this. I'm usually that girl, but a lot of my friends also give me ideas too, and we bounce off of each other. And it's a beautiful thing when you have two very like-minded people, or a group of very like-minded people that are thinking the same thing. That's definitely where I get my best ideas from. As long as you have the right friends around you, like you can do anything, and you can have the greatest ideas ever.
It's true. You get that great support from the inside. For me, my best ideas in my dreams. Right when I'm waking up, I'll hear like a sentence, and I have to like write it down. I don't know what I heard, but when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, and I'm a dreamer too. So, like you said earlier, you're all about like the aura, the vibes and stuff like that. So I'm a dreamer. I'll have dreams, and then something happens 3 weeks later. I'm like, oh, I dreamed about that, or oh, that's what that was about. Just little things. I just listen to my intuition basically, and that's where my biggest ideas come from when I'm not all the way awake or conscious, because I'm an overthinker. So once I'm awake, once I'm conscious, I'm like, I can do. Then the I can'ts come in, which is not good, but that's when the best ideas come, when I'm not thinking about everything. All right, so last question.
Okay.
If you could master any instrument on earth, what would it be?
You know what? My favorite instrument is the saxophone. I just love how it sounds. But I'm trying to figure out if I would want to. You know what? No. I love the saxophone. I don't know if I would want to play it personally. Mm-hmm. But if I could, I would really love to learn the piano. I tried in high school, and I used to have such long nails in high school that I would have to like break them off for my piano lessons, and it made me mad, so I stopped taking piano lessons. I didn't want to mess my nails up. But I honestly wish I could play the piano, because I love like seeing these artists, and it's a beautiful thing to play the piano, Mm-hmm. I've always learned how to play on one of those big like grand ones, like in a nice dining room or something. So yeah, I love doing that.
Piano. I had piano lessons in pre-kindergarten up to kindergarten. I didn't like it. The lady was not nice, so I didn't like piano ever again. She used to like bang my fingers on it. I don't know. And it was a nun too. So I was like, oh, sister, I'm 4. I'm down. I don't know yet. I don't even know my letters yet. She's talking about Priceless.
Right, when you want to learn notes, oh man.
So if I could choose any instrument, I think it would be the guitar. I feel like it gives a lot of the soul, or the soul to a lot of songs. Everybody who plays guitar, I feel like they're just laid back and cool, but they're like really actually sort of kind of second lead to the show after the drums. So I love it. Thank you for joining me. I'm super, super, super excited about things to come for this podcast, and I really hope that this really is an addition to whoever watches it. I know that what God has for me is going to be for me, but whoever watches it is what I'm most concerned about. I want them to be able to look at you and your story, and look at the other guests in their story, and just say, I can do it. I'm going to try. Whether she's 15 or she's 45, wherever she is in life, I want her to be able to do it. So I thank you for contributing to that.
Of course, yes.
Anything coming up for you?
Coming up, well, we know that the event world is pretty much dead right now until further notice. But I've been actually getting into the PPE game. I'm learning a lot about how people like import PPE and how they transact on large orders of it. So it's very interesting. It's completely new for me, but at the same time, I'm also like an agent. I'm a PPE broker. Okay. So I understand the client relation side as far as buying and selling. So it's been interesting. It's definitely different, but it's also definitely very in right now. So I'm just adding something else to my resume at the moment, and trying to help people get their hands on PPE when they need it most. So it's been interesting. Yeah.
We'll be talking. I think that us connecting will be a great idea. I do seminars. I'm sure there'll have to be web seminars for a little while longer, but I do women's seminars where we do vision boards and we just work on our goals for the next year and keep doing it. I put up videos about it on my YouTube channel. It's just a big part of my goal planning. Like I said, when I'm awake, I got a lot of things going on. I'm an introvert, a super introvert, so I think a lot and I don't speak a lot. So a lot of my thoughts and my ideas get flooded out. So a vision board is like top A1 thing and it helps me a lot. So I do a lot of those. So maybe we could help a couple of ladies together at some point in time when it's not happening anymore. I do not like Corona.
Yes. I actually just did my first vision board this year. I had been saving magazines for like 2 years for the vision board, and I just did my first one, and I loved it so much that I did 2 of them, like another one the next day. So I was like, I didn't have enough boards. I need to make another one.
Yeah.
I actually found myself in one of the magazines, so I put myself on the vision board. I love it.
I do mine annually, but you can do them 5 years, you can do every 6 months, you can do so many different kind of vision boards. And also the other big thing for me is like an affirmation board. That's another thing that's really important and I think a lot of people would benefit from. So especially people who, like I said, I'm an introvert and I deal with imposter syndrome, which a lot of people do, whether they're introverts or extroverts, but you deal with a lot of, I probably am not going to be able to get that done. So affirmation boards are really, really good. You can just go to them, read it over, say it, recite it to yourself and look at your vision board at the same time and say, let me input this so that I can get this done, different things like that. So we'll be talking. All right. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. This was great. All right. And good luck on your podcast.
Thank you. I'll keep you updated.
Of course. Okay, bye. Thank you.
Bye.